Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's have a look now at some of the stocks, though, that are on the move today here in Europe. I'm Caroline Hepker alongside Bloomberg's equities reporter Chloe Millay. Chloe, good morning.
Good
nice
morning.
to see you. So food manufacturer Greencore have seen their shares soaring today. Why?
Yeah, so we had a couple of companies within the UK food sector on the move this morning. So let's start with Greencore. So Greencore makes ready meal sandwiches for UK supermarkets, and this morning it boosted its profit outlook. So it noted kind of really good volume growth, and that was kind of ahead of the wider market thanks to very favourable summer weather. So that was one of the factors there. It was also able to kind of offset higher costs thanks to efficiency improvements, and all of that fed into an improved outlook. That also lifted Bakkavor, which Greencore is in the process of buying. And then in the same kind of sector, we also had Compass, which is a catering company. It also lifted its organic revenue forecast this morning and made quite an important acquisition. So it's buying Dutch caterer Vermaat from Bridgepoint in a €1.5 billion deal. So that kind of duo of good news lifted the shares as well for Compass this morning.
Interesting, because we were speaking to World Panel, formerly Kantar, just on Bloomberg Radio today, and they were talking about grocery price inflation accelerating again in the UK. I was quite surprised by how high it's gone, up to 5.2% this month. So that's the highest level since January 2024. So food price inflation really, really hot. Okay, so that's in the food manufacturing sector. What about AkzoNobel, the Dutch chemical firm, not having a good morning today?
Yeah, so Akzo is a paint maker, and this morning it cut its profit forecast for the year. That was due to currency headwinds. So that's something that we've heard a lot of companies talk about recently. They've talked about the strength of the Swedish krona or the strength of the euro. In this case for Akzo is the strength of the euro. So it's up almost 13% this year, and that is having an impact on the forecast. It also mentioned tariff uncertainty. So it said that customers were hedging their bets at the moment, and the CEO said that unless there's clarity on tariffs, there will continue to be caution in that area. So tariff uncertainty and currency headwinds really weighing on AkzoNobel. It's also dealing with higher costs of the chemicals that it needs to make the paints that it sells, and then it's continued to see some weakness in some key markets. So North America, but then also China is still very weak. So that's really weighing on Akzo this morning, and the shares were down by quite a bit.
So that's on AkzoNobel. Also, European chip makers, what is weighing on them today?
Yeah, some weakness that we've seen in Infineon and STMicro in particular. That's off the back of some disappointing news from NXP Semiconductors, which is a Dutch semiconductor firm, but it trades in the US, and it offered a third quarter forecast that was a little bit less bullish than investors had anticipated, and it really, those results kind of showed how tough it is for the chip makers that in particular are exposed to the automotive sector. Obviously, in the recent days, we have had yesterday the news from Stellantis with the 2.3 billion euro loss. Renault also had cut its forecast a little bit earlier in the season. So we can see how weak the automotive industry is, and that is weighing on the stocks in the semiconductor industry that are exposed to that industry. The end market of the automotive end market accounts for 50% of NXP's revenue, also a really sizable part of STMicro and Infineon. Those two are reporting a little bit later in the season, so we'll see how much of that weakness they mention in their own reports.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.